you've probably found out early on your own leadership lid as you stepped into leadership many years ago. What were the things that you found were holding you back, holding the team back, and holding the business back?
Man, that statement of what got us here won't get us there. I feel like I used to weaponize that statement to try to influence people upstream of
You're
me.
trying to
being
break
like,
things.
That's right. And I felt like the one that was pointing the finger and saying, "Hey, you're the old dinosaur that needs to change," or whatever. Honestly, over the last several years, especially being in leadership, I realized that I'm the problem. I'm the one that needs to reinvent myself. I'm the one that needs to change. I'm the one that's I'm going back to my old bag of tricks, expecting them to work the same way they worked in previous years or seasons or teams. Now, some things do. Principles, just basic leadership. A lot of the stuff we teach at EntreLeadership is it doesn't matter what industry you're in or whatever, it's going to work. But when it comes to the ideas, when it comes to being fresh with how we go to market with something or a strategy, man, I have learned and I've been really humbled that my ideas aren't as good as I used to think they were. And so I've had to rely way more and more on the team, and I've had to look for opportunities and spend more time asking questions and seeking out ideas and opportunities from around our team and the market and researching online. And so I definitely have been the lid the vast majority of the time.
The first step is self-awareness, and you got that down. And, Dave started this place on a card table in his living room, famously with one team member, himself, and obviously scaled it over time. And it's a great example of what got us here won't get us there, because over time, the process has changed. And he talks to our team about this in staff meeting all the time. Hey, our mission, our values, our principles, those will not change. They've been the same for as long as we've been around.
Exactly.
But the way we do things has to change over time. So have you found yourself kind of stumbling, maybe as you've entered this new role in EntreLeadership, are there any mistakes that you look back and go, man, wish I did that differently?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of mistakes I can look back on, and I have regrets or I realize I really screwed it up. One of the things I've been learning recently is how often that I can look back at a season or a time where I made a decision, I was decisive, and I held on to that decision too long, meaning the environment changed, the team changed, things changed, and I held fast to a decision I had made that had probably expired. And more recently, I've been challenging myself to think, hey, what are decisions I should revisit and maybe make a new decision? I've been trying to give myself the freedom to change and make new decisions along the way and not being stuck in a decision that I've made in the past. And so I look back at different seasons of business that I've been in on various teams, and I'm like, I made some big decisions where I didn't necessarily think through all the consequences. And when those consequences came up, I chose to stay the course versus making a new decision.
Is there some like sunk cost fallacy in there where you're kind of going, well, I got to stick to my guns. This is going to make me look bad with the team and for the business. We're going to stick it out.
Absolutely.
Figure it out later.
Absolutely.
That's hard to do, to kind of swallow your pride and own it and do it in a way where you're communicating that to the team about your failure. Have you done that?
It is horrible. George, there's nothing worse than standing up in front of the team saying you're wrong and you're going to change direction. It's the worst.
Most leaders think that makes the team lose trust in you. Have you found that to be the case, or does it increase
not at
trust?
all. Yeah, it blows me away whenever I get up in front of the team and I own a mistake or I own something that went wrong. If I take ownership of it, like Jocko talks about, take extreme ownership of it. When I take ownership of a situation that didn't go right, and then I talk about a path forward, I always get the team trusts you more. They come to me and they believe in me more. They appreciate me more. They feel freedom to make their own mistakes and learn from it and grow from it. And they don't hide their mistakes. They actually learn from them and grow from them. And so, communicating and being open and honest is so important. And you can't just sit up there and apologize. You actually have to apologize and then take action to be different and change and grow. If you just stand up and apologize over and over, then people don't believe it because they don't actually see the change.
It's kind of a boy who cried wolf.
Exactly.
Leader who cried wolf. That's a great book title. Someone can take that.
The opposite of an EntreLeader.
Yes. So a part of, communicating and building that healthy team is feedback. And I talked with Dr. Marshall Goldsmith. We're both big fans of his. And he talks about feed forward, which is not, hey, you did this wrong. It's, hey, looking towards the future, here's how I think we could do better. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very interesting, positive way to give feedback that is not sugarcoating anything, but instead of looking back at the past, we're looking towards the future.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about what got you here won't get you there, how do you do that with your team at EntreLeadership?
Man, we as humans have egos. I have an ego. The people I work with have an ego. And that's okay. I'm not saying having a big ego is bad for sure, but we just have to recognize that we're all emotional creatures and we're sensitive. And so one thing I've learned recently I have my own executive coach. What he's been teaching me recently is when you are correcting someone, when you are challenging them to do something different or give them feedback, it is a very nuanced way that you use your language around something. And so instead of saying, hey, we're going to fix something, or we're going to talk about this broken thing. Hey, George, the way you did it is terrible. It's broken. Hey, your project is off the rails. That language immediately throws your defenses up, and you're not going to hear the feedback I actually have for you. So instead of saying broken, fix, reset, instead say, hey, George, I'm going to build on your knowledge. Hey, I'm going to the foundation you've set, let's build on it. Let's grow from it. Let's move forward in a better place. So you really set that up earlier. Exactly what I would say is using more of forward-thinking vocabulary and words around it to not shame the past, but hey, you're subtly acknowledging that it wasn't as good as it could have been, and you're talking about the future.
And not only does that put my defenses down, my guard down, but it also changes the way I interact with you as a leader when I know, oh, Daniel actually wants to help me grow.
Yeah.
He's not here to tell me what I did wrong.
It shows that I actually believe in you, and I see a future for you as a team member that's improved and better than today. Versus if I don't believe in you, then I'm just going to write you up and reprimand you and call it a day.
Not the way to do it, for sure.
No.
So we have a core value around here of shoot sacred cows. And I think that plays into this, what got you here won't get you there in a big way. Mm-hmm. How do you know when it's time to shoot the cow?
When people make statements like, oh, we can't do that, and you ask why, hey, why can't we do that? Why can't we try that? And they don't have an explanation for it, or they say, hey, this is how we've always done it.
Ooh, that's a trigger sentence.
That's when I kind of start to tilt my head a little bit, and I keep asking why. Why? Is there a principal reason why we haven't done this? Is this violate our core values? Have we done it before and it didn't work? If so, should we revisit? Have things changed that we can reconsider? So, no, I always look for a reason in why we don't do something. I like something in me, my personality, I don't like to be told no. And so when I am told no, I have to explore it to actually see if it is a real no.
I think that's in the Ramsey DNA at this point.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So as we wrap here, what have you found to be the best way to evaluate if the blocker that you're hitting is a challenge to overcome or if it's a lid that needs to be broken through? How do you kind of look at problems when you're going, we're not where we want to be in our business. We got to get over here. What is your first step in evaluating?
As a believer, I try to go to God with prayer and asking Him for direction and for guidance. Oftentimes for me, it's hard to explain, but oftentimes I really feel like He guides me in decisions, and I don't hear His audible voice, but I definitely see signs and nudges and things that I'm more aware and I'm more looking for, hey, is this the right course of action or is it not? And so sometimes a path is blocked and you shouldn't go that path. And other times it is an obstacle that we need to push through and we need to find a way around it. And we are called to lean into it. And those are the best opportunities. They're frustrating, they're hard, but they're what make you better. And, Jocko's all about that, of looking at the situation as an opportunity to grow. And so sometimes it's an opportunity to grow. Sometimes it's something you overcome. Other times, I really feel like the Lord's pressing on me that we shouldn't go that direction. We should look for something totally different and not try that. Yeah.
And if nothing else, turning your focus towards your faith is turning it away from your own motives and opinions and feelings in the moment. And so it disconnects you in a healthy way.
Absolutely. Yeah. All those things cloud my judgment. And so that's why I have to seek out the Lord, and I seek out my team's advice and their input. And I ask my wife oftentimes if she has knowledge of the situation, or I ask close friends. I try to seek counsel. Those people provide insight and perspective. And I use my own discernment to see if it's good perspective, if it makes sense. But I have to let my own feelings, thoughts, emotions get out of the way. Proverbs says that in the multitude of counsel, there is safety. And so I try to seek that. If I rely on my own quote unquote knowledge or wisdom, I'm probably going to screw it up if we're being honest.
Yeah.